there's a lot of mitzvahs and they can take up a lot of time. But what are you doing when you're walking down the street? And he would say, no, you're talking to Hashem, you're talking to God. And so I think on that level, the Hasidus talks to me.
Do you think that our Jewish sage Paul in the Christian world, he advised us. He says, pray without ceasing, like always be praying. Do you think that that's like a Hasidic kind of a thought?
No and yes, okay. Because first of all, that precise expression comes from the Gemara. It comes from Masechet Brachos, where we look at right here, cool. where one of the, I think it was Rabbi Yochanan, he said, "Halavai yitpalel adam kol hayom kulo." Halavai, would that it be so that man would pray all day long. And it comes in a section where they're saying, "Oh, when should you daven in the morning? When should you daven in the afternoon? When should you daven in the evening?" Oh. Halavai, we should pray all day long. So I am sure Paul was quoting the Gemara.
By the way, I have no doubt. I mean, there was many things that he wrote that are found. But I'm thinking of, okay, then let me ask it another way. Do you think the Hasidic thought perhaps connects back to sages like who you just described? Who are thinking about would that we should pray all day long? Is that
I think it was. I mean, yeah, it didn't come from outside.
Yeah.
It certainly came from within the Jewish tradition. I do not mean to denigrate or put down anyone, but I am fairly sure that, as you cited Paul, a lot of these basic concepts of Hasidus, a lot of things I've heard about Christianity have led me to believe that it was, in its time, a form of Hasidus.
I mean, it's true because
just precisely what you said about Paul.
Even Jesus says, "Look, my kingdom is not of this world. It's a heavenly thing." So
that's very much reminds me of the Baal Shem Tov. I would say that and there's no one who would say that. Actually, probably there's some people at the time. There was a serious concern. There was a serious concern in the very beginning of Hasidut that Hasidut was not Judaism. We're getting into really dicey territory. There was a big dispute, and there was a movement called the Misnagdim. It nearly split Judaism apart. Because they felt that the Hasidut was not Judaism. Part of the reason being because they venerated the Rebbe, the spiritual leader.
Sure.
And they were and it was not so long after Shabtai Tzvi, who was a false Messiah, who claimed he was the Messiah. Right. He had an awful lot of followers. Right. One of the things he said was, we don't have to do mitzvahs anymore. And he eventually was confronted by, if I'm not mistaken, by the Ottoman ruler.
Yes.
And he converted to Islam.
Which shows the guy's off.
Which is a pretty good sign that he was not the Messiah. Exactly. So, I mean, I think, and I might be okay, so I might get a lot of people slamming me for this. But the more I learn about Christianity, the more I really am convinced that at its very roots, its roots were very similar to the roots of Hasidut in a lot of ways, in that it was a branching off from Judaism, branching off from mainstream Judaism in a radical way. It was a social movement in the same way. It focused on intention and connection to Hashem in the same way that Hasidut did. I think it's actually a historical accident that we became two religions.
It's interesting. I've never thought about that, what you just said. I've never thought
really?
about that
Really? I'm surprised.
before.
I thought you would.
But, only when I heard, and that was just very recently on this trip to Israel, that I heard somebody say that Hasidut is considered to be less rigorous than traditional Judaism.
Absolutely not correct, but okay.
But this
is an
opinion.
Okay.
This is an opinion.
Okay.
And so what that isn't that the thing about Christianity? It's sort of easy, and we accept Jesus and we come in quickly, and then there's an opportunity to learn and go deeper. But anyway, and that's putting aside the issues of all the things that traditionally separate Christians and Jews, I think if we were all if all Jews accepted the Christianity as a sect of Judaism today, just theoretically, then the dig on us would be we're not formal enough. We're not structured, and and in fact we are. We're lazy. We're, as compared to Jewish learning, we're very lazy.
I don't know if I would say lazy. To be really honest, I think that Christians who love the Bible and love Israel are in many ways much closer to the original Judaism. They're certainly much closer to Judaism than secular Jews who reject the Bible and reject Israel. I think there's no doubt about that.
Yeah. Look, and
I would be willing to entertain thoughts that take that a little bit further, but I'm just not so sure I can put voice to that.
Yeah, look, I'm not, and
but I think that's very clearly true.
I actually don't mean lazy as an angry judgment. What I mean is just that the average Christian, they do the studies. The average Christian prays 2 minutes a day. The average Orthodox Jew prays an hour and 15 minutes a day.
You're giving us the benefit of the doubt.
The average Christian doesn't read his Bible. The average Orthodox Jew is reading at least the Parashah. Listening to it read every week.
You're also giving us the benefit of the doubt. But I hear that.
And then and then the average Bible student in America goes and takes a 15-hour course load, 15 hours a week of study, and then goes and does their homework and stuff. And then you go into the yeshiva, and it's going from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. and you live and breathe and everything. So
I would even take it further and say, for example, the average Christians who do read the Bible, if they came into my house, like you did, we would probably spend the whole day together and never once mention the news, never once mention the hottest TV show or something we saw on the internet. We would have a lot more to connect on than a secular Jew who came into my house and he just doesn't know what to talk about. And I think that's significant. That I think is the major driving factor in the world today. That's driving evangelical Christians and Jews together.
Yeah, and look,
Israel Jews.
And the only reason that Christianity works, in my opinion, that it isn't as bad off as those ratios I just gave you are. The reason is because of this gift of the Spirit, where in a way the Torah can be written on our hearts, even though we don't know it, but we can sort of be nudged into one way or another in a given situation, and that helps. It's the benefit of the new covenant. We can talk about that some other time, but. I think it's the only reason that we do as well as we do, and I think we do pretty well, like you said, especially if we love Israel.
My impression, and correct me if I'm wrong, part of my problem is I haven't been in America for 27 years, and even when I was there, I didn't connect to Christians. Yeah. My impression is that Christianity, there's segments of Christianity that are going through very big changes that are on the same level as the Protestant Reformation.